I thought the presentation by Gil Penalosa was outstanding. The energy, the visuals, and just the messages that he gave were amazing. He set the stage beautifully for what we heard for the rest of the day. I was really impressed at how the themes that he came up with, I saw them weaving themselves through pretty much everything we heard yesterday.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And what I found powerful with Gil's message yesterday was he was really telling us a story, right? And for those of us that were born and raised in Hawaii, we know how important telling stories is in how we build relationships and how we actually get things done. But as important and impactful that was, really the big thing for me that I took away from Gil's presentation really was when he talked about how, in his experience, in all the things that he's been able to accomplish and his organization has been able to accomplish, he spoke a little bit about the importance of everyone coming to the table and collaborating. And he made the distinction between collaboration and consensus, and that collaboration and consensus are not the same thing, and made the real, I think, impactful message to me that collaboration requires everyone to come to the table with everyone willing to compromise so that we can accomplish something big and impactful. And that, for me, was the real big takeaway.
Yeah, and again, you heard that through so many of the presentations that we saw yesterday. And I've been coming to this conference since the beginning. And that emphasis on collaboration, that's, I'm not saying it's new, but it was just much more of a consistent message. But I've seen some other changes over the years. That I do think that this has been a very distinctive year. So last night, as we were talking about what we were going to talk about, I used the word pragmatic, that I thought so many of the things that we were hearing had a much more pragmatic feel to them than I've heard in years past. And the more I thought about it, I think I was using the word inappropriately. Too often in years past, everything that we've talked about, it's been very aspirational, without question. But there hasn't been a great deal of sort of a sense of urgency, a sense of purpose. And that was what I was hearing yesterday. And that was something new. And that was also, it was very heartening to hear that. Yeah. As an example, during the discussion on battery and grid stability, and let me first say, I am not an engineer, so I'm the first to tell you, Jay lost me more than once during that presentation.
So the big secret, Jay's not an engineer as well.
Really?
Yeah. Where's Jay? Is Jay in here yet?
Well, he plays one well on TV.
Yeah, he does.
So, but what I did take away from that panel is that we actually have real-world solutions that we are working on today that is going to make our grid ready for that 100%. We'll reach it. This isn't just an aspirational pie-in-the-sky thing anymore. The technology is there, and we're working with it in a way that 100% is going to happen.
No, those are great observations, and I really want to echo what you spoke about. Yesterday, I really saw a theme in the messages throughout the day, in the morning and in the afternoon, around a focus on taking action. And I think that is distinctly different from what we heard last year, where it was about setting goals, making these commitments, and developing plans. And my background at Hawaiian Electric for much of my career is in planning, so I think it gives me the freedom to say this. But I think yesterday we saw the change in the focus and folks away from goal setting and planning towards actually deciding what the steps we need to take to actually take action to get there. You heard it pretty much throughout the day from all the panelists. And really, I think it's an expression of the commitment by everyone that we need to begin realizing the goals that we set out for ourselves. And I think it's a natural thing. It's an evolution of everyone seeing, understanding, committing, and then getting behind some of these great goals that we set for ourselves in the state of Hawaii.
Well, and so this may sound like a non sequitur, but I'll get there. Renewable energy is very much real. It's here. My niece works for the EPA, and she's out of Division I in Boston. And with the incoming administration, she is understandably nervous.
Right.
And so Alyssa called me, and she was just in tears on election night. And she's like, is renewable dead? Is the focus on sustainability dead? And I was very pleased to tell her, no, it's not. Because 5 years ago when, we started this, 4 or 5 years ago when we started this conference, renewable energy, sustainability, these were concepts that were really more owned by the environmental movement. They were owned by those who wanted to be green. That is really no longer the case. And I think we're going to see that with some of the panels today. Renewable energy, sustainability, reliability, these things make sense in the real world. They have actual financial consequences that are positive. And so, a change in administration is not going to derail these efforts. And for example, we're going to be hearing from Alaska Airlines, and I'm excited about this, both as a geek and a customer of Alaska. They have a very robust sustainability program, and they're not doing it to feel good. They recognize that it's good for their customers, it is good for their employees, and it is good for their bottom line. And so, and a number of other panels we're going to hear from today are going to hit that same note, that in the real world, we've arrived. These concepts are here, and they are now mainstream.
Yeah, especially in the panel of, I think, the economics, I think that we'll really get into that point, because for those of us who call Hawaii home, we've all experienced the high oil prices, both in our electric bills and in our gas bills. And I think we, more than any other place, we understand that very point, that renewables isn't just about doing the right thing or sustainability or an environmental statement. It's really about what makes good sense for your business or what makes good sense for your individual home's budget as well. So I think that's proven to be an accelerant, a catalyst for many of the things that have happened in Hawaii. I just see that becoming a broader issue, and I think Alaska Airlines talk today will give us a little glimpse of how we're beginning to see things change on a national and international level as well. And that's awesome.
Well, and things like battery storage. We're going to be hearing from Mercedes-Benz. That's not some obscure company that no one's heard of before. This is a very well-established, respected organization. And so I'm excited about the panels that we're going to hear today. Yeah. So I see you have a yellow piece of paper.
Yeah.
Are you supposed to?
I do.
Okay.
I think Doug and Jeannie are going to not let me leave if I don't talk about it. But let me just really close with one last point. Yesterday, we heard the phrase systems thinking in several panels, and Doug really opened it up when he shared with the audience the planning committee's idea of making this year's conference broader and more than just about electric energy. And I think you're going to continue to see that theme around systems thinking in today's sessions as well. And it's really about how things like energy, water, food, and transportation overlap each other, both in the challenges we face on all of our islands, not just Maui, but also where we are beginning to see opportunities to solve for some of these long-standing challenges and issues on these sectors through solutions that can actually help more than one individual sector. And getting back to the point of economics and what makes sense in the bottom line, being able to solve for these issues across these sectors with a combined solution that employs systems thinking, I think is really going to help our economies, our local economies and the state economies solve for these problems in a very, very cost-effective way. You saw a lot of energetic discussion about it yesterday. I think we're going to see a lot of it today as well. So I'm really looking forward to all of the sessions today. But Lisa, as you so dutifully reminded me, everyone should have gotten this yellow sheet of paper in your program book. It was kind of stuffed in there on the first page. It's called Conference Feedback. And on behalf of all of the program committee members and everyone that worked so hard to put these conferences together, this is a very, very valuable feedback tool that we need so that we can have good information from you, right, the attendees, the people the reason we hold these conferences in the first place, to really get feedback on what you think we did well, and feedback on where we think maybe we didn't do as well on. And maybe even there's some blank sections in here where you can add in some of your own thoughts of what would be good topics to cover for next year. So very valuable to us, very important. So please take 5 minutes or so to fill this out during the break. Grab a coffee, grab a pen, which should be in all of your bags. Fill out one of these. What I just realized now while I'm speaking is I have no idea what you do with these yellow sheets when you fill them out. But I think Frank's coming up next. So I'm going to ask Frank to give us a little instructions on what we do with them. So much for systems thinking by me.
Systems thinking. And this was my very first time serving on the program committee. And those are so helpful because you've got a group of people, some in a room, others on the phone, and it's like, well, what worked last year? What didn't work last year? So they don't just get put in a box. They actually get used.
Yeah. So thank you, and thanks for coming on day 2, and we all look forward to a great second day. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day.